Imagine your father tells you that your entire family fortune is hidden in a single envelope, but warns you never to open it until he's gone. Would you obey? Or would curiosity and greed take over? Richard Benson made the wrong choice, and what happened next destroyed his entire family. I stay till the end because this story will leave you shocked. Like this video. And subscribe for more thrilling short stories. Finally, share this video with someone who loves African storytelling and drama. The old billionaire, William Benson, lay on his hospital bed, his breath weak and raspy. His 3 children, Richard, Sarah, and David, stood around him, their eyes filled with a mix of grief and curiosity. The air in the hospital room was thick with the smell of medicine and death. The machines beeped slowly, in rhythm with the weak heartbeat of William Benson, the billionaire who built one of the most powerful business empires in the country. But now, at 84, his once strong body had given up on him. Richard, the eldest, stood stiff, trying to mask his emotions. He had been waiting for this day, not because he hated his father, but because he had spent his entire life preparing to take over the Benson empire. Sarah, the middle child, held their father's frail hand. Tears glistened in her eyes. She had always been the heart of the family, the one who cared more about love than money. David, the youngest, looked away. He had always been the quiet one, observing more than speaking. Mr. Benson cleared his throat, forcing out the last bit of strength left in him. "My children," he said, his voice shaky but firm. "You have always known me as a wealthy man. But my true wealth is not what you think." Richard, the eldest, folded his arms, impatient. Sarah, the only daughter, wiped a tear from her eye, while David, the youngest, leaned in closer to hear their father's words. "I have hidden my entire fortune inside a single envelope," Mr. Benson continued. "And it is in this house. That envelope holds everything." The 3 children glanced at each other. "Where is the envelope, Dad?" David asked. Mr. Benson exhaled deeply. "It does not matter where it is now. What matters is this: you must not open it until after I am gone." Silence filled the room. What could be inside? A will. A secret bank account. The key to the Benson empire. Richard cannot stop thinking. He had to know. That night, the hospital room was quiet except for the faint hum of machines. Richard couldn't sleep. His father's words repeated in his head like an echo. "I have hidden my entire fortune inside a single envelope." He turned in his bed, restless. Why did his father keep the will in an envelope? Why not just announce it? He needed to see it. Richard tiptoed to his father's private study. The large oak desk stood in the center of the room, just as it always had. The bookshelves, filled with business and law books, loomed over him. His fingers traced the edges of the drawers, searching. Then, his breath caught. Inside the bottom drawer, hidden beneath old files, he found it. The envelope. His hands shook as he picked it up. It was thick, filled with papers. His mind screamed at him to stop, to wait until his father was gone. But curiosity was stronger than patience. He tore it open. Richard scanned the papers quickly, expecting to see his name as the heir to the Benson empire. But what he saw shocked him to his core. His father had stolen the Benson empire. Years ago, William Benson had a business partner, Daniel Carter. Together, they built a small company that grew into an empire. But Mr. Benson, in his hunger for power, betrayed his friend. He forged documents, erased Daniel Carter's name from ownership, and took everything. Everything the Bensons owned did not belong to them. Richard's mouth went dry. If this truth came out, their entire family would be ruined. No one would respect the Benson name anymore. The company could collapse overnight. Lawsuits would follow. Everything they had ever known would be destroyed. His father's warning echoed in his mind. Open it only after I'm gone. Richard had made a terrible mistake. And now, it was too late. Richard's hands shook as he held the papers. Sarah and David were too kind, too honest. They would want to fix this, to return everything to the Carter family. But Richard had worked too hard for this empire. He grabbed the papers, tore them into tiny pieces, and flushed them down the toilet, thinking the secret was buried. The next morning, the Benson mansion was full of mourners. Business associates, extended family members, and old friends gathered to pay their respects. Richard put on his best grieving face, shaking hands, nodding solemnly, and pretending to be the perfect son. But deep down, his stomach was in knots. Sarah and David had no idea about the secret he had destroyed. To them, their father had died an honorable man, leaving behind an empire for them to inherit. And Richard planned to keep it that way. But just as he was starting to feel in control again, his phone rang. Then, his phone rang. Unknown number. He hesitated before answering. Hello. A deep voice responded. Is this Richard Benson? Richard's heart stopped. Who's asking? My name is Daniel Carter Jr. Your father stole my father's empire. And now, I'm coming to take back what belongs to me. The call ended. Richard's fingers tightened around the phone. The secret wasn't gone. It was just beginning. Richard had to act fast. Richard called a private investigator. Find everything you can on Daniel Carter Jr. I need leverage. The report came back the next day. Daniel Carter Jr. was clean. No scandals. No weaknesses. A successful businessman with powerful allies. Richard was out of options. Unless he eliminated the problem completely. The next day, Richard arranged a private meeting with Daniel Carter Jr. They met in a quiet restaurant in the city. Daniel was a tall, broad-shouldered man with sharp eyes. He looked nothing like a man who could be intimidated. Richard forced a smile. Let's get straight to the point. How much do you want to disappear? Daniel smirked. You think this is about money? Richard leaned forward. Everyone has a price. Daniel's smile faded. Not me. I don't want money. I want what was stolen from my family. And I'm not leaving until I get it. And I will get it, legally. Richard's blood turned to ice. This man wasn't going to back down. He was going to take them to court. And that meant there was only one solution left. Daniel Carter Jr. had to be eliminated. Immediately after the meeting, Richard made a call to a man who handled the problems. The instructions were clear: Daniel Carter Jr. must disappear. But the night before the plan could be carried out, Sarah and David found out about the secret. The truth is out. Sarah stood in shock, holding their father's original documents, the ones Richard thought he had destroyed. You knew, she whispered. Richard's mouth went dry. Sarah, listen. You knew Dad stole everything, and you wanted to cover it up. David's fist clenched. You tried to get rid of Daniel Carter Jr. Richard struggled for words, but the damage was done. Sarah and David were no longer his siblings. They were his enemies. Daniel Carter Jr. sued the Benson family, taking them to court. The trial was brutal. Daniel Carter Jr. came prepared. With proof of his father's betrayal, he tore apart the Benson empire. The courtroom was silent as the judge prepared to give his verdict. The judge's voice echoed through the hall. The court rules in favor of Daniel Carter Jr. The Benson fortune, the properties, the businesses, are no longer yours. Richard felt the walls closing in. Everything was gone. Sarah and David walked away, disgusted by Richard's actions. Sarah's voice was cold. You ruined us. And I will never forgive you. David didn't even look back. For the first time, Richard was truly alone. His greed had cost him everything. His family. His fortune. His legacy. He lost it all. Moral of the story. Greed destroys. Lies catch up. And some secrets should never be uncovered.